Hey, it's Liz D'Alto, and this is the Untamed the Wild Soul Woman podcast. From body image, sex, spirituality, money and relationships, to motherhood, creativity, business, communication, and desire, Untamed the Wild Soul Woman is the place to come for real stories and powerful advice to help you reclaim and redefine womanhood in the 21st century. Liz D'Alto here, your host for Untamed the Wild Soul Woman, a virtual conversation series where I get to dig in with some really powerful and inspiring women about how they transcend their fears and their struggles, how they work with other people to do that in some cases, and more than anything, how they make their own rules and do things their own way. So today I have with me Christina Rasmussen, and this is someone who, again, as I say in every interview, you could read the formal bio somewhere around the video, but I just want you to know why I'm so excited to have her here. First of all, super grateful. She's super busy, super high demand right now, working with private clients, working in a nonprofit, has 4 kids, 2 dogs, runs a household, is the author of New York Times best-selling, yeah?
Oh, no.
Oh.
I wish I could say it was, but not yet.
That's okay. Second first, I mean, that's a whole other conversation of what that actually means anymore anyway. So,
Yes.
But just super amazing woman. And what I love about Christina personally is that for a few years now, her and I have had like these crazy psychic connections, like the moments we reach out to each other, the times we run into each other when we're not even expecting to. It just feels like a really special connection. And she just has so much wisdom, so much depth of life experience to share. So Christina, thank you so much for your time and for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, and so good to see you and be here with you, with your audience.
It's so fun. So I'm asking every woman the same first question. Mm-hmm. What do you love about being a woman?
You know, it's so funny you should ask that, because sometimes I say, if I had to choose, would I come as a man or would I come into life as a woman? And I think it would be a woman always. I think men, I know it's going to sound terrible to say this, but I think they only have kind of one dimension. You know, being a woman, you can be both feminine, both masculine. I'm not saying men cannot be feminine, but it's more accepted, I think, as a woman to be successful and have children and to do it all. And I want to be able to do it all and choose. If I want to be feminine today and be a housewife, however you want to call this, I'm feminine. If I want to be masculine, I am exactly who I need to be. So it's more multidimensional. I like that we are alive here at this time of our life. Maybe 40, 50 years ago, it would have been a different conversation. So I'm very grateful about that. And nobody has asked me this question before. So
a lot of people say that, and I love it. My favorite part is just watching people take in the question, being like, ooh, what do I love the most? So you bring up a really interesting point, though, that it might be easier for women to play the full range of like the masculine-feminine dynamic than for men. But I think it's still tough because a lot of women, this has come up in a lot of the interviews, kind of get stuck in like, because our society is very like patriarchal, like the work world is very like achievement, do, accomplish oriented. Has that ever been the case for you? Have you ever felt like stuck that way and maybe not having as much access to your feminine?
You know, that is it's a great question. And for me, I think when my husband died 8 years ago now, I had to become both. And before, I think I was all feminine. Well, there was always that other side that I would ignore more. But I think I was so, he would be the one going to work and I would be taking care of the babies. And then he got sick and then he died. And then, oh my freaking God, can I say that?
Yeah.
And then I think, and the reason why I love this conversation is because there's such a different part of that story, you know, and how you become, then you have to take on both worlds. And whether you like it or not, or whether it's easy or not, it doesn't really matter. I had to become father and mother. I had to become man and woman and be really good at it. So I don't know if that answers the question, but it's when you ask me this question, I just remembered that I literally mindfully, I had to step into both worlds at the same time.
And I bet there's plenty of women watching who can relate to that, even if they haven't lost a spouse, maybe even if it's just in divorce, and they find
Divorce,
themselves,
yes.
man, how do I be mom and dad? What can I ask? What were the biggest challenges? I imagine there might have been a little identity crisis during that time. No?
I was insane. I, you know, I think I was led by fear. And if I was to go back, I would have stayed more in my feminine. I would have gone and become an artist. I would have made different choices, I think. But because I had to prove myself and I had to show the world that I can bring on, I can bring the money. I can climb the corporate ladder. Everyone, look at me. Don't feel sorry for me because I can do everything. I had no nanny. There was a babysitter that would come to the house every Thursday for 2 hours. That's it. I was crazy. I was stupid. I was like, I'm going to be everyone and everything. That's why people say, how do you do it now? I'm like, do you know what I've been through before? This is easy. Now,
That's a great point.
do you have I mean, I nearly threw the car into a frozen pond with my kids. And I mean, it was like, there was crazy energy, and the choices I've made were based on fear of, will I have enough money to raise my children? They were not based on, oh my goodness, we all die. Look, he was 35 years old, he died. Oh my God, I'm gonna go and live my dreams. It was, I'm gonna go and make sure there is money in the bank.
Yeah.
And that was actually, and that's why I try so hard to help mostly women, I guess. I have most of my audience is female, to help them understand that fear is not really saying the truth, and safety is an interesting concept.
Yeah. So this is interesting because you hear people like say, my mom died and then I realized how precious life is and how I need to go out and live to the fullest. And you're saying, that's not what I did. I said, I need to freaking take care of my family. So what were some of as you were doing everything yourself? Because I hear you saying, I would go back and maybe get some more help or maybe not do everything myself. Did you get sick? Did you burn out? Like, what happened?
Yes. I used to get pneumonia once a year. And 3 years in a row, I got really sick. I had the neighbors bring me my antibiotic. I mean, it was so desperate and so hard. And I worked in this company. I hated the job. I would cry. The elevator took me to the 10th floor, and I would just get in the elevator and just cry. And then, tears go away, and walk into this horrible space as an admin. I mean, it was my intelligence was gone, my wisdom was gone, my womanhood, everything was just completely stripped away from me, and I couldn't see that I was not the right way. And that's why I named it the waiting room. No wonder, because especially women, choose the roles and the things they need to do because they feel they have to protect the others, they have to take care of the others, and they don't think about themselves. Think about you. Think about what you need. Like, I became invisible to myself. I didn't see me.
Yeah.
What a horrible thing, right?
So, the reason I ask, because this is so common, right? Like, when we're not caring for ourselves, life is still there wanting to support you. And it's like, cool, here's pneumonia, because that's the only thing that's going to get you to stay in bed for a week and you need some time off. So what brought you back to yourself? What stopped that loop and brought you into like, I have to do something differently?
So I want to be honest and say that, unfortunately, even though I'm not in that same loop, I created a new busy loop.
Yeah.
And because our brain knows that's a very, familiar path to be busy. So, but the good news, is that I chose my profession and I chose the job that I do, and I love my work. So I am busy, but I love what I'm doing. So and I think ultimately, when we make our dreams come true, it is not going to be a day at the park. Is that the right expression? It's not going to be. Is that the right expression?
I think it's a walk in the park, but
a walk in the park.
We got the point.
Yes, it's not going to be a walk a day, a week. It's going to be hard work, and in that hard work, making our dreams come true, we have to choose ourselves, and we have to choose to rest. We have to choose hobbies. I love to paint. I love to be very creative, and I actually, I'm going to show you this. I've not shown anyone. I have these paintbrushes here, right? And there's a painting there, and there's actually another painting right here. And in the next 2 or 3 months, there'll be paintings everywhere, because that's my passion as well as what I do. But this is for me, and the work that I do is for others.
Yeah. I love that so much, because I feel like we live in a world right now where it's incredible how much opportunity there is.
Yes.
Anyone could be an entrepreneur. Anyone with a laptop could run a business these days, right?
Yes.
And so it's almost like overwhelming, because you're like, oh my God, literally I could do anything I want. I could create anything I want. And then there's this thing like, oh, well, can I turn my passion into my business? Sometimes people want to do that. And I love that you have a distinction between this is for me and this is for other people, because for sure what you do for yourself fuels you and energizes you for your work you do with other people. So what's that habit like? Is it organized, or is it on a whim, like when you paint?
So what's happening to me right now, there's this force, and I feel it, right? And I guess I wouldn't be sharing this with someone else, but I think you're going to get this. You really, because we are very similar. There's a force, and it's going to say, paint, woman, paint, paint. So I signed up for a class at Berkeley University over the weekend, and I'm going to freaking find the time to go there every Wednesday night, because I need to create structure around my passion. I need to bring the universe and say, hey, I'm respecting myself. This is a dream I've had since I was like 2 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm 42. By the way, I love to share my age, because I'm happy to be here. And 40 years later, I'm going to make that dream come true. And I'm going to have to trust that it's going to show up the way it's going to show up. And also, if someone had told me, Christina, you can do whatever you want, anything you choose, it's going to happen. Because that's what I realized. I can choose anything I want, it will become successful. I wish someone told me that. I may have made different decisions or choices, or I wouldn't have had so much stress. Mm-hmm. Because everything is literally possible.
Right. And so I love to hear you say that, because like this series is very much about what I keep calling deconditioning. It's saying, hey, like shaking people, like this is our culture. It's not what's true. Question everything. Yes. And feel it out. Like use your own discernment. And I love that more than once now you've talked about choosing yourself, finding time, making choices, because it is like all of that stuff is in our control. So how did you learn, or like was there a light bulb moment? Like when did you realize like this? Everything is a freaking choice. I get to create exactly what I want.
There was a moment, and it will be a year, middle of January. I came back from my crazy, insane, over-the-top book tour. And you know what, Liz? However successful it was, however amazing it was, wonderful, bestseller, translated in other language. I mean, third edition, whatever, right? I came back and I said, oh my God, this is the other side of the dream. And okay, I'm burnt out. I had gained so much weight. I couldn't even, everything was going so fast, and I had sacrificed my life. Mm. And I actually literally let go of most of my team. They were all part-time, and I said, I'm releasing you. I actually didn't keep anyone. Like I really literally took steps, stopped all of my clients, everything stopped. And I had to slowly bring myself back to life and make different choices. And now the choices I make is I want to see the sunrise. And I think you see I don't know if you see my pictures.
I follow you on Instagram just to see the pictures from your porch all the time.
I look at the view. We got a hot tub, and we go there every night, Liz. And if someone said I can't afford a hot tub, save the money, do something. Like we go under the stars every night and sit there, And if you don't have a hot tub, put your jacket on, go in the snow and sit on the snow. Because if I died tomorrow, my only regret would have been I didn't paint enough and I didn't look at the stars enough. And I don't want this to be my regret, ever. It didn't say you didn't get a New York Times bestseller. Which I will, but that will be just a symptom of living my life. I also meditate twice a day every day now, and that maybe is one of the reasons why there's so much mindfulness and choosing of me and choosing of this world. Because honestly, something changed that was so dramatic that I get to say no. Maybe if Oprah called, I wouldn't be able to say no, but otherwise, there's a lot of no's in my life because I don't have time, even for success.
And what's cool is, again, like that choosing yourself, saying no. I think that's something I know. I'm not even going to guess. I know in my own life, in my clients' lives, like boundaries is something I have to teach people all the time, because it's just like you were saying earlier, like as a woman, whether you have help or not, whether you have kids or not, we are like, that's kind of our conditioning. Like, I'm here to take care of everyone else.
That's right.
And then when you turn it back to like, no, like the best thing I could do is honor and take care of myself. Well, then you're exactly right. It's just like what you did, taking stock of everything and being like, what needs to go so I can create space for me? And I think the problem is part of our society is all about like measuring things, right? Like accomplishments come in like, I made this much money, I can measure that. I was number one in my class, I can measure that. And a lot of the success and the fulfillment that you're talking about can't really be measured. Like, I can't quantify for you how amazing it feels to watch the sunrise,
Oh my God. It is the most amazing experience. I get electrified. It is, and for me, I don't know, Liz, I don't know, a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, we wouldn't be having this conversation. It would be a very different conversation. I wonder what the conversation will be a year and a half from now.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it will be. And I know that I am also capable of selling freaking much everything and going to the beach and live in a hut. And I'm capable of doing that as well, as easily as writing another book and whatever, right? It's to be able to choose both of those paths with equal passion is living life truly.
I love that you just said both of the paths as well. This came up. I interviewed Casey Baker the other day, and one of the things she talked about was the concept of yes and. Most people are going, well, if I do this, I have to give this up, right? And always, and that's kind of this scarcity mindset that there's only enough time, money, energy, effort, whatever available, instead of being like, no, I can say yes to this and this. Might take some finagling.
It is. Yes, but it works.
So how, when you're deciding what to say yes to and what to say no to, how do you check in? Like, what are your discernment points there?
Liz, I noticed that I was getting very angry towards some people inside of me. I felt like people were taking advantage of me. And I'm like, where am I getting that from? Why am I feeling like this? They're just asking for something. And I allowed them to ask, right? And actually, I have not shared this before with anyone. Many of these things will be brand new. But I started saying, why are you feeling angry? Why you're angry towards this person? You put yourself in this place. So I listen to that angry voice and say, no, that's not you, Christina. That's you being positioned in a cage and feeling like you don't have a choice. So I said 2 no's today, 2 things that I would have said yes to easily. They were not bad things. They were not asking of a lot of me. It was a half an hour here and there, an additional half an hour on my schedule. And I could have found the time, but I didn't. And it does bring discomfort, because I wanted to be there for those people. It is not easy, but I'm getting used to that discomfort. I'm like, okay, it's okay. They might not like you for it, but I like me. I like myself right now. And I get to enjoy this, and I get to enjoy my kids later on, and not have to take care of everyone. It's the same choice that I'm like, if I'm taking care of 2 additional people today that I have not time with, it's the same way I took care of my kids through having that job I didn't like. It just looks different.
Yeah. So what are the things that make you say hell yes? How does it have to feel, or like why would you why would you say yes to something these days? And so I'm asking for women watching who are super busy, which is so many women. That's like actually one of the beautiful things about being a woman, right? We're pretty great at multitasking. But
Yes.
just because we can doesn't mean we should all the time. So if someone's wondering or just looking for some inspiration around, cool, like what are my yeses and what are my nos? What are the things that are like hell yeses for you?
You know, I used to be surrounded by many friends, many people. Like if I had a party at my house, there were so many people. I mean, I knew everyone. The phone was ringing. And then after he died, I didn't get on the phone. And I have not been on the phone for 8 years. Actually, I didn't pick up the phone for months. And then maybe once a week, I would start picking up the phone. But I never went back to that. So I let go of a lot of people that were just noise, or we were not connecting anymore. So I had more time. And then the more time I had, the more I enjoyed my solitude. I actually enjoyed time to reflect and create and do the things I wanted to do for myself. So for me, health, I was losing my health. So when I realized that, I said, this is not good for me. So I have to be healthy. I have to be strong. There's a physical experience that I have when I'm overdoing it. And I felt it this morning. And I'm like, here it is. Here is that discomfort because I am over the top today. I'm hyper. And I need to calm myself down. And that's when I say no. I said no to someone when I was on vacation in Santa Fe, a very important person. I said no to. No, I can't talk to you this week. I'm on vacation. And I didn't even think about it. I said, I can't. It's against everything I believe in now.
Yeah.
But I said yes to you because of you. Also, like, you have to be able to, we are all capable of reading energy. So when someone makes you feel good, I don't use my brain to think about whether this is what I need to do or not. I'm like, I like Liz. And if you had asked me, do you want to, can we get on the phone and talk? Same thing. I would have said yes. I would have found the time. I like you. I like that person. And therefore, I want to spend time with them. And whatever we create is going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
I love that. And I love, so I'm reading a book. Have you ever heard of Florence Scovel Shinn?
No.
So this book, so I'm reading, actually I have it here, Her Complete Works.
I have to get it.
And I'll send you a link for it. And she wrote this in like the 20s. So it was like super progressive for the time. She's basically a metaphysician. And like this is one of the things she's talking about. Like your intuitive hunches, you have to follow them. Right? So it's like exactly what you just said. Like when something feels good, I don't think I say yes, because I was literally just reading that this morning. She's going on about, your intuition comes up and you have that hunch and then you talk yourself out of it with reason. And I think that's something that's pretty popular with our culture. So I love, and for the people watching, to see this proof of like your busy, amazing lifestyle that you allow the feelings to govern your choices instead of being like, I need to make a pros and cons list or something like that.
I know. And actually that maybe it used to be like that a long time ago, but it hasn't been like this in a long time. Is what makes me feel good, I will do it. If I'm doing something like the stuff that I'm doing for the nonprofit, it's a lot of bureaucracy. I have, it's part of the dream, right? And a lot of structure. It's a lot of work and busy work, and it's not with the people that I want to help. It's building, right? And I don't like it. I'm going to say I don't like it. But what will come out of it will be so beautiful that then I say yes to it because of the help that it's going to give to the world. But I have to say that making your dreams come true might not be as beautiful and rosy as we think. It's actually hard work. I always say to people, are you sure you want this?
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
That's great. And it's just true. I think there's so much noise. And I originally know you from Marie Forleo's B School community. So just being, whether the community is online or off, paying attention to who you're surrounded by. Is it entrepreneurs? Is it people like there's room for positive thinking and optimism and idealism, but it's important to be real. And that doesn't mean negative, but like what's true in terms of what is the feeling? Am I in integrity? And choosing like where you get information from, because there's so much. I feel like the internet can be overwhelming. I've actually been signed off of Facebook for the entire month of December because
How is it?
It's so amazing. You don't realize. Talk about being plugged in. It goes both ways, right? You're plugged in, and then people are plugged into you. And you don't realize it until you go, let me just get this out of my life and see what happens. And you know what? I haven't lost touch with the universe.
No, I see you.
The world didn't come crashing down. And then there's this element. I heard Danielle Laporte say something great at an event a couple months ago. Someone was asking her about Facebook and how she handles, personal friend requests and stuff like that. And she said, yeah, no, I don't accept those. And people said, well, what about your real friends? And she goes, why would I be interacting with my real friends on Facebook?
I love it. I do love it. I mean, but there is, I feel I have some real friends that I interact with on Facebook, and
like you and I, primarily Facebook message.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when I ran into you, I went back on Facebook, and you probably didn't see this message, but I said, actually, because we follow each other online, when we run into each other, I know what's going on. We know, like, it doesn't feel like it's been 2-3 years, or I guess it had been a year and a half. It felt like you knew where I was at. I knew, and there is some good in it. I don't accept any friend requests unless it's someone I really know. I've shed, cleansed, got rid of, you name it. Yeah. I have it. But there are 2 or 3 friends on Facebook that I call friends, and they are friends, and they're there, and I like to see them. I like to see how they're doing. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
So I have to say that Facebook has given me more good than bad, but
yeah.
Mastin Kipp was saying on Twitter yesterday, and I said to myself, maybe I should do this. He turned off the notifications on Facebook. And if I turn them off, I think it would be a more of a choice of who I'm going to check out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I love that. Something I stopped doing was I stopped scrolling through the news feed, because that's where all the nonsense is.
Yes. It is. There's a lot of it there. Yes.
Yeah, but that's a great idea too, because even I feel like there's something, and I'm sure, the age we live in, I'm sure at some point there will be psychological studies, but there's something like, it's almost like an addiction to that little red notification sign, and how you feel when the number is like 2 or 3, or the number is like 25. It's really interesting.
It is. And then because I have my other page, my Facebook is truly, I just want to share some new things that I'm feeling that I'm not ready to share publicly yet. Mm-hmm. And that's why I choose only the people I want to there. For me, it's the same as having them over for dinner. The people who are on my Facebook friend list are people I actually really like a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's cool. I like that you said it's kind of like having people over for dinner, because we also, one of the amazing things about the world is that there's so many cool events. We do. Like, our friends are all over the planet at this point. For some people. For some people, when you live in a local environment and everyone is pretty much in your town, that's super amazing. Like, I'm always jealous when I meet someone and they're like, oh, I'm not even on Facebook. And I'm like, how does that work?
How? That's true. Yes.
So funny. So something else I've been enjoying asking people is, under the context of Untame the Wild Soul Woman, how do you feel like you express your wildness? Because it's very unique for everyone. What does that mean for you?
For me, it's not like a warrior-looking drawing. Like, wow. It's not like that. I roar every day. I do, and it looks like this. It doesn't look. And I just recently cut my hair, and for me that was because I had this long hair and. The wild woman, and now, and I felt so much more me with shorter hair than I ever did in ever. So the roaring, the wild, is when one day I'm gonna freaking choose to just let it all go, and go and be an artist with old rugs and and paint all over my face.
Yeah.
I want paint on my hands, paint on my face, on my body, on the floor with brushes, paint it. That's wild to me. And no caring,
Yeah.
no measurement.
Yeah. There's an element of like self-expression
Yes.
and choosing yourself. Again, choosing the way I express myself in your answer. I love that.
And I do love helping many, many people. And that's what keeps me grounded in this world, because of the freedom I've given so many people to live their lives. And that is a huge mission, and I'm being pulled. I can't stop it. Like there's like other forces in play here for this. And I'm here to do this. But in order for me to do this, I need to listen to the wild side of me, where I find myself on the floor with the paints and messiness.
Yeah.
And not caring about what anyone thinks, and being in that trance-like space in a whole day where I'm exhausted afterwards because I was just in this other dimension. That's wild for me.
Yeah. I really enjoy hearing you mention at many parts the shifts you've already made and the shifts you anticipate making in the future. Mm-hmm. Because again, I think a lot of people get stuck in like this linear path that they think they need to take.
Yes.
And then are so averse to change or uncertainty. And I enjoy hearing you say, I don't know. Here's what it is right now. Here's what it might be later. I might do this. This is the conversation we're having today. A year from now, it'll probably be different.
Yes, it would be. And I don't want to be a slave to my mission, right? So if one day, if I continue down that path where I burned myself out and I was destroying myself because I was working 16-hour days, I think I would have hated my mission. I would have hated the work. And I love the work. I love being able to step on stage and change people's lives right there on the spot. I have some amazing speaking engagements coming up that are exciting. And I love that. I love that part of me. I'm not saying no to this, but I have to have my days where it's messy and it looks like it does. And it might not be with paint. It might be that I stay in bed. It might be that I watch Revenge. Actually, you know what? Tony Robbins said this.
I know!
Did you listen? Did you hear that?
Yes.
Like, if Tony Robbins can watch Revenge, so can I.
I'm just dying because that show is actually one of my guiltiest pleasures. Like, very rarely am I embarrassed to admit stuff, but when people are like, what do you watch? I'm like, I watch the worst show on television, Revenge.
Yes. I watch the Vampire Diaries. I watch, and for me, I need to freeze my brain sometimes. I need to because I try to solve problems all the time. I try to problem solve. That's what I do all day long. And I can solve a lot of problems. Not everyone's problems, though. I learned that too.
Yeah.
And in order for me to turn off the hyperactivity that's going on, I need to look like crap. And I need to go and veg.
Yeah.
And I haven't had this during this vacation time. And that's why when I start to feel, here's the other person, everyone wants something, because I haven't given myself, I didn't paint, I haven't painted this vacation, and I have not been in my pajamas sitting. I was going to do a little bit of it this morning, and then Huffington Post Live called and said, are you ready in 20 minutes to go live? So I had the fastest shower in my history, because that's the mission calling in that moment in time, and you say yes to that. But I think for people who are listening and want to create, I wish someone said this to me, Christina, you can do anything you want. What you cannot get back is yourself.
Yeah.
Don't lose it. Don't lose her.
So good. And I love, this is funny, this came up with Sonia Choquette too. Even just like the idea of watching what I label as like crappy TV, right?
Yes.
Because this comes up in my household. My boyfriend is actually super not into the stupid shows that I watch. And
we're going to have to change that.
And he would tell you, like, he's a little judgy about it. Like, because it is, like, there are, and it's funny, because ever since I've been doing these interviews, and I've been talking about, like, deconditioning and, like, where our societal programming comes from, I notice it a lot, actually, in the TV shows. I'm watching How I Met Your Mother, and they're talking about getting married, and, like, Ted being single still, and, like, maybe it's just time to settle. And I'm like, these terrible ideas. even the other day, I'm listening to old music on Spotify. I'm listening to Otis Redding. And like these old love ballads, as amazing as they are, the messaging is horrendous.
That is very true.
So, but there's still a piece. And I've had this conversation with so many women who are leaders, who work with clients and who do really deep work with people, how it's like, yeah, I do. I need that time to veg. And there's a difference, I think, between using it to numb out and avoid life and literally using it to just like relax and recharge.
You have too much. There's so much going on. My dogs, if you just take my dogs, forget the humans, right? Seriously, just first of all, the moment I'm going to walk out of this room, I have two very playful dogs, literally are going to jump on me and we're going to sit on the ground and we're going to just play. I mean, just talk about that. Like there's a lot of stimulation. There's a lot of, and then there's the kids and boyfriends and things and mommy, and for me, that's actually happy noise. Like it's life, and this is life too. Because I choose this to be life. And the interview this morning, like all those things, but I don't want to numb it. I think you make such a good point. I just want to take a break from, and I was writing a blog and I said, listen to me. I want you to start living life. But if I was to wake up in the morning, go fly, because I love to fly planes, go fly a plane, then go parachute jumping, then go and paint a painting, then go and look at the ocean. That would have been too much life for me in one day. I would need to watch Revenge. I would need, seriously, Liz, like enough.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want to, I just want to look in my worst possible place and not to be Christina Rasmussen who lives so much, like there's so much going on, I just want to be just nothing, nobody. And I don't care because I did, but for your boyfriend's point, my first hobby, I would get People magazine delivered to the house. And he would say to me, and he was like a genius and his high IQ, and like I always felt like he was so much smarter than me because he didn't read that stuff, right? So he would say, why would you, he was so cute, why would you read that stuff anyway, And one day I caught him reading my People magazine. And I never told him that, and he's listening now from up somewhere, wherever he is, right? And he wanted to read it, but he wouldn't allow himself the freedom to know who he is, to know how smart he was, and to be okay with that. And I think the moment I still get People magazine arrive at my house every week because I love it. And I'm always going to watch Vampire Diaries and I'm going to watch Revenge because I get to do so much intelligent work.
Yeah.
And like yourself, your antenna is busy.
Yeah.
And you need that different outlet. Otherwise, it's too much.
It's too much. And I know you probably notice this too. If I'm like on all the time, I don't sleep very well.
No. Oh my gosh.
It's very hard to wind down. And
trying to kind of go down, my thoughts are so rapid, like fire. I mean, I'm solving the world's problems in the middle of the night. Like, I even paint paintings. And like I was telling, I don't know if you know Jim Quick, he's like, what do you do after, you bet? And I'm like, I paint a painting, some client's problem that I haven't been able to solve. I solve it. Yeah. I write my next book. I mean, it's like, it's whole creativity station, but I can't, your brain is going to burn. I mean, you cannot be there all the time.
Totally. This is so great. We hit so many amazing points here. Was there anything I didn't ask you that you wish I would have?
You didn't ask me about sex.
Oh!
Just kidding. And, Liz, I really thought you would. Nobody asks me. No, I'm just kidding.
That's amazing. Well, tell us. What do you want to tell us?
I think...
you are
that was a joke.
Great.
I was joking.
It was awesome.
But I was surprised that you didn't ask me that. And not that I want to talk about it.
I mean, well, clearly you do.
But, I think one thing people to remember, they need to be funny. And they need to use humor. And I giggle a lot. I really do. I laugh a lot. I make stupid jokes like that. And I don't take yourself seriously. Really. Did you see? I don't know. Do you see on Instagram that crazy pajamas picture posted on Christmas Day with the masks on?
Love.
And I looked and my braces were showing. I had it was horrible. And I said, no, but don't take yourself seriously. laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
And if I was able to do that a long time ago, I think I would have been less burned out and happier.
Yeah. And I think there's also a really beautiful permission giving element about that. Like when people can see leaders or celebrities or whomever, like being human.
And looking like I do normally in my everyday life. And then people always say to me, oh, you're so normal when they meet me. And I said, if that was the only message you would get from me, would be that I am just like you. I am not anything more special. I am just like you. That's it. We are the same.
Yeah, it's great because I think, again, another cultural thing is this this separation that we agree to and continue to create instead of being like, we're all. Like, there's no hierarchy of I'm better than you, you're better than me, or anything like that. Amazing.
You, my dear Liz, are a very smart woman.
Thanks.
You really are. And we have agreed to that hierarchy. So well said, and no more of that.
Yeah, no, that's one of the things we're unraveling here. So, thank you so much. Your website, it's your name or it's Second First? I always mix them up.
Secondfirst.com.
Secondfirst.com. So we didn't even super specifically talk about what you do, but if anyone watching has lost someone, and the distinction is, it's not like brand new grief, right?
Yeah, it's about raising the bar of life after loss. It's about living again. It's about making dreams come true by knowing who you are, and see grief as a superpower. And grief in the 21st century looks very different to the way it used to look. And I'm here to reveal it and show the world that everyone is grieving, and that's why we need to learn how to live more than ever before.
Amazing.
And that's what I do every day, all day.
Yeah.
Apart from when I paint or when I watch...
when she watches Revenge.
Guilty things, yes.
So go check out Christina if you want more of her in your life. And thank you again so much for being here.
Thank you, love. Thank you.
Bye. I think of mantras as just one short, powerful thought that you can use to switch the momentum of your thoughts. So a statement like, it is safe for me to trust, or in some moments of fear, it might just be, I am safe. Or maybe it's something like, I'm surrounded by everything I need. And the way I use those mantras is I'll literally just close my eyes, take a couple of really deep breaths, and just repeat it over and over and over again until I feel like that fear loosens its grip on me.